All right, well, we'll get going here. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'm Cindy Erickson, Tour Coordinator with Westworld Tours. And joining me this evening is our Senior Tour Director, Koral. Welcome, Koral. Thank you again for joining us. We're excited for you to tell us all about our new Best of the Southwest Tour.
Thanks, Cindy. Nice to be here tonight with you, everybody.
So I will be facilitating your presentation this evening. And before I turn it over to Koral to tell you all about the good stuff, I just have a few things I'd like to tell you all about. Number one is your questions. We always love to get your questions. So please, if you have a question, type it into that Q&A box at any time throughout the presentation. We will get to your questions at the end of our presentation. And if you have joined us on Facebook, please just type your questions into the comment section and we will get to those as well at the end. Here's a little preview of next week's presentation that we're going to be doing on Wednesday evening, again, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's our Churchill Explorer Tour, and I know this one is extremely close to Koral's heart, as that is her home. And she will, again, be joining us next week to tell us all about our great tour to Churchill, which is a fabulous trip, 7 days. It includes 7 meals. That's going in August 13th to the 19th. And it's a wonderful tour that we get nothing but extremely positive feedback from all of our past guests who have joined us. So hopefully you can join us next week for that one. And then following our Churchill tour, we will be doing a presentation on our tour going to Africa. And that presentation will be March 20th at 7 p.m. And again, Koral will be joining us again. She did guided our Africa tour in, what was that, 2022, I believe, Koral, wasn't it? Yes?
In Africa 2023. That was last May.
Pardon me, yes, 2023. I keep forgetting it's 2024 already. Oh, you'd think I'd catch on. It's already March. But I know Koral's excited to share all about her adventures in Africa. So hopefully you can join us then. If you'd like to register for those, you can go to our website at westworldtours.com. There will be a link there for you to register for any of our upcoming presentations. And if you've missed any of our past presentations, we do have a library on our website as well. So please check that out as well. And if you'd like to stay on top of our websites and be notified any future presentations or any new tours that we're announcing, we really do encourage you to subscribe to our e-newsletter. Again, you will be able to do that on our website. Just go to the westworldtours.com and /subscribe, and you can quickly enter your information, and that way you won't miss a thing. You can always unsubscribe at any time, and we guarantee you won't be inundated with emails. So for those of you watching this evening that are not familiar with Westworld Tours, we are Western Canada's premier tour company, and we've been serving Canadians from coast to coast with escorted travel throughout North America and around the world since 2000. We include quality components on all of our tours, like modern coaches, professional tour directors like Koral, experienced courteous drivers, excellent accommodations. We include all the sites and attractions that are important, and we also include a number of meals throughout all of our tours. 2025 will be our 25th anniversary, and again, Koral's going to tell you all about our anniversary tour to the Best of the Southwest. And here we go, Best of the Southwest. It is a 21-day tour which departs March 17th of 2025. That is an error on the website. So it is not 2024. It will be 2025. And returning April 6th, we offer an all-coach version and a fly-in option. On the fly-in options, your dates on that would be March 18th and coming home on April 4th. So you'll embark on an unforgettable journey throughout the enchanting Southwest, where every turn unveils a tapestry of awe-inspiring landscapes, vibrant cultural encounters, and timeless historical treasures. You'll delight in the best of the Southwest, crafted to immerse you in the splendor of national parks. You'll meander along picturesque drives, behold breathtaking vistas, wander through iconic film settings, and encounter charmingly eccentric roadside gems. You'll experience the allure of the Southwest like never before as you venture into the realm where adventures and wonder collide in perfect harmony. So at this time, without further ado, I would like to introduce everyone to Koral Romanchuk. Pardon me, I almost said Carpenter. Koral is our senior tour director who has been with us, I believe, since 2000, right? From day one or close.
April 10th, 2001, to be exact.
There you go. April 1st, 2001. Anyway, Koral, welcome again. Thank you so much for joining us. And I will turn the presentation over to you so you can share with everybody all the wonderful sights and experiences they're going to have on our Best of the Southwest.
Thank you so much, Cindy. And as we begin this evening, everyone, let me just say it's really my pleasure to be here with you this evening, and so nice to have you all joining us tonight. I have been with Westworld for several years, since spring of 2001, and always my pleasure to be representing Westworld as a tour director and guide, and my pleasure to be involved in the Zoom presentations again for the month of March as well. It is really exciting, like Cindy was saying, that we're coming up on our 25th anniversary with Westworld Tours. If I'm correct, I do believe it was January 2nd of 2000 when Westworld first opened its doors. It's also really fun and quite exciting for us at Westworld too to introduce a new tour. And this is a brand new tour, the Best of the Southwest tour. Personally, as a guide and director, I love the motor coach tours. I really do. So those of you who enjoy a good motor coach tour, this is going to be right up your alley, so to speak. And it is nice that we have that fly-in option as well, too. So yeah, as Cindy was saying, our tour is from March 17th until April 6th. So that's 21 days altogether. Or if you opt to do the fly-in tour, you'll be flying into the city of Denver, Colorado to meet us there. And you'll meet us the following day on March 18th, that fly-in option. This screen here, I'll just very quickly run through some of the great highlights of the tour that we're going to experience in our 21 days. And then we'll go through them in a little more details with the slides Cindy's prepared for us. So Douglas Railroad Museum, Red Rocks Park and Amphitheater, Buffalo Bill Museum, Taos Pueblos, San Miguel Church, New Mexico History Museum, Old Town Albuquerque Walking Tour, Turquoise Museum, the International UFO Museum and Research Center, Tombstone, Arizona, featuring the OK Corral and Boot Hill Cemetery. Also the Old Tucson Theme Park, Date Farm Tour, Sanguinetti House Museum and Gardens, Yuma Territorial Prison, History of Humanity in Granite, Yuma Conservation Gardens, London Bridge, Red Rock Canyon, Original Route 66, Grand Canyon Railway, White Sands National Park, Arches National Park, and Salt Lake City's Temple Square. So, so much to look forward to in those 21 days. Well, thanks, Cindy. This is a nice slide, everybody, because it gives you just a little bit of a map overview of the southwestern U.S. and specifically the states that we're going to be traveling in. We just take a little dip into California. We're not in California too much, but a little bit of Nevada, beautiful Utah, which I have to be honest with you, if I had a personal favorite state in the continental U.S., it is Utah for its incredible natural beauty. I love Colorado as well. We're going to spend some great time there. I would say probably some of the highlights of our tour are going to be in New Mexico, enjoying places like Taos and the adobe structures, and then some really fun stuff in Arizona. So there's going to be a lot to look forward to for sure. Thanks, Cindy. And it all begins with the initial sightseeing attractions that we're going to be seeing, and that's going to start in Douglas, Wyoming. Funny thing about that area is we're going to be going down through jackalope country because this is where the idea of the jackalope first came about. It is a mythical creature, a legend, essentially a cross between a jackrabbit and an antelope. So the legend of the jackalope was created here. So in Douglas, we are going to be touring the Railroad Museum. So those of you who happen to be train enthusiasts, this too is really going to be right up your alley. So passing through Miles City and Douglas, yeah, the Douglas Railroad Museum only actually became a museum in the summer of 2018, but it is a historic train depot that was originally built back in 1886. The visitor center is housed there as well, and what we'll have a chance to see at this stop are 8 different historical rail cars. So the rail cars and also steam locomotive as well that are all open for touring. So that's dating back to the 1800s and specifically that time frame in the 1880s. So that will be one of our very first sightseeing attractions going down through Douglas. And then in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, that's the city of Denver that you're looking at there, everyone. And as I was saying, that is where our fly-in passengers will be meeting us in Denver, Colorado, which is known as the Mile High City. It actually is 1 mile high, so it's called that for a reason. Absolutely beautiful backdrop with the mountains heading down the I-70 corridor, but around 200 mountain peaks close to the city of Denver. So really, really pretty and known for its museums, its breweries, its historical landmarks like Larimer Square as well. So yeah, so we'll have some actually free time too to enjoy Denver as well as the sites that we have included for you in the itinerary. Thanks, Cindy. There we go. Okay, so we are already heading down into the Southwest, and we'll be getting into some cowboy country. Just before we get to that, though, I'm just going to go to the lower center screen and also the lower right-hand screen as well, and just mention Red Rocks Park and Amphitheater. This will be one of our sightseeing attractions in the Denver area. We're actually going to have an included lunch at Red Rocks Park, and it is a beautiful amphitheater and also a concert venue near Denver. Some pretty big names that have played in Red Rocks Amphitheater over the years. Even the Beatles played there. Of course, it's Colorado. John Denver played at Red Rocks, and the likes of the great Tom Petty as well too. So just a few of the many, many notable names. But it's known for its stunning views and vistas from the amphitheater overlooking that Red Rock scenery and the Rocky Mountains and city skyline as well too. The park itself sits on 700 acres, and besides the concert venue itself, there's hiking trails and lots to see and do there in the Sandstone Cliffs. It sits at an elevation, incidentally, of 6,450 feet. So that will be one of our sites in the Denver area. As I say, you will have a bit of free time to enjoy Denver, places like the 16th Street Mall, for example. But we are getting into cowboy country, and that is going to factor in most definitely to some of our stops. Well, one of the most famous historical figures in the American Southwest was a man named William Frederick Cody, and he lived from 1846 to 1917. But you probably know him better by the name Buffalo Bill, Buffalo Bill Cody. And we're going to have a chance to tour the Buffalo Bill Museum, also his gravesite as well too. He had wished to be buried on the top of Lookout Mountain, so we'll have a chance to see that. He was a pretty interesting fellow, Buffalo Bill. You're having a look at the museum there on the top left-hand corner of the screen. Throughout his varied and colorful career, he worked as an Army Scout. He was actually a Pony Express rider at one time too, in the short-lived Pony Express. He worked as a ranch hand and a wagon train driver and a railroad conductor. and also a bison hunter and fur trapper as well. But what he was probably known for most of all was as a great showman in the show that he created called Buffalo Bill's Wild West. And he was a star of that show throughout his tours through the US. And then later on in the late 1880s, even in Europe as well, too. So definitely one of the famous figures of the Southwest. So I think that's going to be really, really interesting and a lot of fun for our group and a lot of history there as well, for sure. Thanks, Cindy. I always think the reason that history is so interesting, I'm a history lover myself, and I always think all history is, it's people's stories. It truly is, our stories. And so it's the stories of those, colorful figures like Buffalo Bill that make it really special. Moving on, we will be spending time in the state of New Mexico, and some really interesting stops here. What you're looking at, everybody, is the Taos Pueblos. So this is actually located very close to Taos, New Mexico, and this is pretty incredible. It's actually an ancient pueblo belonging to the Puebloan people, a Native American tribe, and I just want to make sure I get this right because this is particularly interesting. It is the oldest continuously inhabited community in the United States. It has been declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And get this, everybody, the Pueblo was built first, it's believed, between 1000 and 1450. And it is still, as I was saying, continuously lived in today. It's believed that about 150 people live in the Taos Pueblo itself. So just a few shots of that there. So really interesting introduction to the culture we're going to have there, and starting to see the adobe styled structures as well. So this architecture is also going to factor in very closely to our tour and be something that I think will be very interesting for a lot of people to see, and needless to say, very photogenic as well too. So pretty interesting culture. Thanks, Cindy. And then from there, we're moving on to the city of Santa Fe. So we'll spend a bit of time in Santa Fe. We're just looking around the screen here in the top left-hand corner, downtown Old Santa Fe. Santa Fe, by the way, everybody, I'll just share with you a few quick facts out of interest on Santa Fe, New Mexico. It is the capital of New Mexico. It is the oldest state capital in the United States. And in one form or another, it's been inhabited since 1607, when it was established by Spanish conquistador Don Pedro de Peralta. It was officially established as a community in the year 1609, 1610. So pretty incredible when you think about how old this is. It was the principal city for the Spanish Empire north of the Rio Grande River as well. So you will have some free time on your own to explore in old downtown Santa Fe. Also, one of the oldest buildings in the U.S. is the Palace of the Governors, which has been the colonial government seat, and also one of the famous historic adobe structures there as well. So today it houses the New Mexico History Museum. So we'll have a chance to visit that, and then also see San Miguel Chapel, which you're looking at there too on the lower right-hand corner of the screen, and also in the center as well. So it's San Miguel Chapel is a Spanish colonial mission church built, it's believed, around 1610, and we will have a guided tour there. And as I was saying, it is known for its incredible history, considered to be, if not the most, certainly one of the oldest church buildings in the continental U.S. as well. Thanks, Cindy. Okay, and then moving on, everybody, we will have a chance to also enjoy Albuquerque. So we're going to be staying in Santa Fe and also in Albuquerque too. So what we're going to have a chance to do there is we'll have a guided walking tour. You'll have a chance, if you want to try some fantastic Mexican food. I've had the pleasure of traveling through the Southwest U.S. Not too much with Westworld, some, but quite a bit actually on personal vacations as well. I can certainly tell you from experiences, if any of you enjoy Mexican food, my goodness, it's endless. Terrific food. So you might want to try some enchiladas, maybe even the sopapilla pastries as well. You might want to do some shopping as well too. Some of the notable things to buy, things like pottery and jewelry and rugs and that kind of thing too. But Old Town Albuquerque officially established back in 1706. And the interesting thing about Albuquerque, New Mexico, is that the flags of 3 different countries have at one time or another flown their flags there, and those are Spain, Mexico, and the United States as well. And today, downtown Albuquerque consists of about 10 blocks of historic adobe, mud, and brick structures within its shops and restaurants and galleries and museums. Thanks, Cindy. And this is going to be probably a highlight, I think, too. It certainly looks like it's going to be a really interesting stop. I've never been here before. This is the Turquoise Museum in Albuquerque. So this just gives you a bit of a look at what you're going to see. It's featured in a castle-style setting with beautiful antique furniture and a rich repository of turquoise specimens from many different mines. It's actually said about 100 different mines in fact. So at our stop here, we'll have a tour. We'll learn about the history of the stone, the turquoise, its mineralogy, its color varieties as well too in the various galleries. There's 13 galleries altogether, and I have a feeling there might be a chance to do some shopping there as well. That might be a fun thing to shop for, would be some turquoise jewelry. This is an interesting place, to say the least, that we're going to be visiting. We're still in New Mexico at this point, everybody. This is Roswell, New Mexico. Now, Roswell has a population today of close to 50,000 people, a little more than 48,000 people call Roswell home. Also, the Military Institute was founded there back in the year 1891. But I think most of us know Roswell for one very specific thing, and that was this incident that happened back in 1947, and that truly put Roswell on the map. So this was what I'm speaking of, is the crash site of supposedly an alleged UFO situation where there was a crash that occurred in the summer of 1947, actually about 75 miles away from where Roswell sits, but it's taken its name for the town, or for the city rather, of Roswell. The town itself, though, has really benefited, and certainly their tourism is, needless to say, very much based around things like ufology, the museums and businesses, and alien themed and spacecraft themed iconography as well too. So in fact, here's a fun thing for you, everybody. Have a look in the lower right hand screen. Do you see the McDonald's down there? This is a pretty unique McDonald's because it is the only McDonald's existing that is in the shape of a flying saucer. So that's definitely a unique thing about Roswell. And we'll have a chance to tour the International UFO Museum and Research Center as well. So it actually features a diorama of all of the events that happened, and what's believed happened there back in 1947. Strangely, even a film about the alien autopsy that supposedly took place as well. So things like Area 51, even crop circles, and other things like that as well. Alien abductions. So that should be a pretty interesting stop in Roswell, New Mexico. Thanks, Cindy. We'll be heading on to La Cruces, and we will be spending some time at a really interesting national park on our journey towards La Cruces. That is White Sands National Park, so we'll have a chance to spend some time here. Cindy, I do believe some of these pictures are your own pictures from White Sands, so it'd be interesting to hear what you have to say about White Sands. But not too far, about 60 miles from the park, is also the test site for the first atomic bomb as well, too, which is rather interesting. But these are gypsum dunes, so they're made of gypsum, and that's why you have that seemingly endless white sand and dunes that you'll have a chance to walk over and enjoy. And this is also the home of the world's largest collection of Ice Age fossil footprints. I was doing some interesting research on that. You see human footprints there, but humans and many types of animals as well too. So White Sands, everybody, just to tell you a little bit about it before we move on, established as a national monument back in 1933, and then redesignated, as a national park only in 2019. And 275 square miles make up White Sands National Park. So it should be a fun stop for us on our way towards La Cruces. Thank you.
Yes, I can interject here if you like.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, White Sands National Park is the newest national park in the U.S. And I had a chance to visit there last summer, and it's amazing. You can take your shoes off, walk through the sand. You think you're going to burn your feet, but you don't. It's not hot at all. And it's just dune after dune of endless blue sky and white sand. You'll see kids out there with the tobogganing down the slopes, and they'll go for picnics in there. It's absolutely beautiful. You'll learn about the different plant life that does actually grow in this, which is amazing, and of the wildlife that exists there as well. And you'll learn all about those Ice Age footprints as when they were found. It kind of set things on their ear for the Ice Age era and where the people were at that time. But it is wonderful, very picturesque, photogenic, lots of fun, and a very unique place to visit for sure. I really enjoyed my time there. And my background is actually me walking among the sands in White Sand National Park. So that's my input there, Coral.
Thanks, Cindy. I really appreciate that. That was fantastic. When you were talking about the dunes, I was just thinking, I'm sure most of us, I know myself included, I never get tired of taking my shoes off and walking and running through sand. So
It is. It's really a unique experience, and driving to the dunes too. I mean, they have to snow plow the roads because, and it does. It looks like you're traveling on a snow covered road. It's just a very unique experience.
Hmm. Wow, that's so interesting. Oh, fantastic. Thanks for that, Cindy. Great. All right, everybody, we'll move on to the next slide. So we are making our way to Arizona. So talking about the various U.S. states that we're going to be in on our Southwest tour. This is a place that I have been actually on previous tours with Westworld. This is Tombstone, Arizona. I have to say, I have found Tombstone incredibly interesting when I visited there in the past. There's some really interesting nicknames and mottos associated with the town of Tombstone, Arizona. I like the motto of the town. It's called "The Town Too Tough to Die." That's what they call Tombstone. It regularly makes the list of towns with most unusual place names in the world. And of course, there is a story behind that too. The story goes that long ago, back in the 1800s, Tombstone got its name when there were skirmishes that were going on between the Native Americans American folks who were in the area, and mining superintendents as well too. So there were a lot of issues going on and problems. The story goes there was a local man named Ed Shefflin, and he was told by an army scout, quote unquote, the only rock you find out there will be your own tombstone. And that's where Tombstone got its unusual name. Well, when it comes to Tombstone, Arizona, there's really one story above all else that we associate with this town. And it is true that back in the 1800s, it really rose to prominence with silver production. So that's what it started with. But there was a pivotal date in history in Tombstone. And that date was October 26, 1881, with the infamous shootout in the OK Corral. What was happening, I'll try and give you, for those of you who don't know the story, I'll try and give it to you briefly here, but essentially there was cattle rustling going on. Those cattle rustlers were actually referred to as cowboys. So at one time, to be a cowboy was not exactly a positive thing, but that's because unfortunately that was a name given to these cattle rustlers. So some of the problems were actually political as well too, but with various political supporters, the cowboy rustling that was going on, there was a lot of I guess you could say tension and animosity that was brewing. On March 15th of 1881, several months before that infamous date in October, a stagecoach had been attacked, and a popular and well-known stagecoach driver at that time, and one of the passengers had been shot to death as well too. So all of these things basically were kind of growing in tension and animosity. One of the famous names that we associate with Tombstone and what happened at the OK Corral was the last name Earp, Wyatt Earp, and his brothers Virgil and Marshall Earp. Well, a few of these cowboys, as they were called, were the McClory brothers, and also another gentleman by the name, I guess I can call him a gentleman, by the name of Billy Clanton. It finally resulted in a shootout. History kind of retells it that it happened in the OK Corral. In fact, it happened close to the OK Corral in Tombstone, but not actually in it. It was an empty lot on Fremont Street, technically, where it happened. But nonetheless, the gun battle happened near the OK Corral. When it was over, the two McClory brothers lay dead, and also Billy Clanton as well too. But it didn't end there. There was a lot of tension, and then finally, Virgil Earp was shot and badly wounded. And then in March the following year, in 1882, while playing billiards, then Morgan Earp was actually shot and killed through the window right in downtown Tombstone in one of the local taverns. That sparked what they called the Earp Vendetta Ride, where they basically set out on a mission to kill people who'd been involved in what had happened with the Earps. So that happened, and then finally in 1882, the Earps, what was left of the Earps, began to leave Tombstone, and then this really pivotal and really tense time in the local history began to die down, I guess you could say, so to speak. But it's been depicted in movies, it's been depicted in books, of course, and I gotta say, it's really interesting. And I personally feel like there's still a bit of an aura in Tombstone. You really feel it when you go there, and I find that very interesting. It doesn't just feel like a recreation. It's also quite a fascinating town, and I have to say it's kind of fun too. There's a lot of local saloons you can pop your head into and just experience the local color. But we have some really interesting attractions that we're going to be doing. We will tour the Tombstone Epitaph Museum. We will go for the reenactment in the OK Corral, which is I've found very interesting in the past. Another thing that we're going to do, everybody, is called the Historama Show. It's really hard to explain what the Historama Show is, but but it's you sit in kind of an old-fashioned theater, and it's basically happening on a little stage in front of you. They're kind of like miniature figurines. It's really the best way I can explain it. It's one thing that's never been changed and updated over time since when it first opened back in the early 1960s. My impression was I like that. It just feels very historical and very retro. And in fact, the Historama show is it's narrated by the actor Vincent Price. He narrated it back in 1964, and that has changed very little. It's a 25-minute long presentation, which serves as the unofficial newcomer orientation. So that's something that our Westworld group will do. And then lastly, one more thing we do, and that's the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. I suppose you could say no trip to Tombstone would be complete without stopping at Boot Hill Graveyard. And the McClorys and the Clantons, the brothers, those cowboys are all buried in Boot Hill Graveyard. You'll see their graves, alongside graves of gamblers and miners and many more who would have lived at that time. And the quote there was that many and most of the people who are buried in the graveyard died with their boots on, and that's why it's called Boot Hill Graveyard. Thanks, Cindy. Thanks, Cindy. Are you still there? Cindy, if you can hear me, I think I've lost you.
I'm back, Coral. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened, but we had a technical glitch that booted me right out of the system here. So
Right.
bear
Yeah.
with me, and I will start the webinar again. I apologize. I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, sorry everybody. We're having for some reason we're having some technical gremlins tonight. We were right before the show started, and yeah. Oh, perfect. Okay. Oh, well done, Cindy. There we
Sorry
go.
again. My apologies. I'm not sure what happened, but technology is great when it works, and when it doesn't, it's a bit of an issue.
Exactly. No, we're back up and running. That's fantastic. All right, everybody. So this is great. We were just talking a little bit about Tombstone, Arizona. We're going to have a little stay in Tucson, Arizona, and this is a city I have to say I like very much. I find Tucson really interesting and also really pretty as well too. So it's the second largest state in. Excuse me, pardon me. It's the second largest city in the state of Arizona behind Phoenix. It's also also home to the University of Arizona. That's one of its major employers. Also, the Air Force Base nearby is a big employer in Tucson, and tourism, of course, as well, too. What you're looking at in these slides here, everybody, is a really fun attraction that we're going to have a chance to enjoy while we're in Tombstone, Arizona. This is called the Old Tucson Theme Park that you're looking at. Well, the film set was first built back in 1939, and I have to say I'm old enough to remember some of those old westerns on TV, and I know my dad enjoyed watching those. And so, yeah, starting from 1939, this was a very active film set when the likes of some of those great actors like John Wayne and Jean Arthur, James Stewart, Clint Eastwood, and others were involved in the westerns that were filmed here. But then in 1960, it actually turned into a western themed theme park, and so we're going to have a chance to enjoy this place where hundreds of those western classics were actually filmed. Thanks, Cindy. That's great. Perfect. Okay, so yeah, another bit of a look at Tombstone. Excuse me, pardon me, at Tucson. Everyone, by the way, you are going to have a free day during our stay in Tucson, and maybe after these busy days sightseeing. By this point in the tour, that free day is going to look really good to maybe do some shopping, or the weather's quite beautiful in Tucson, so it might just be a perfect day to do nothing but sit by the pool at our hotel. One of the reasons I love Tucson so much isn't just for its beautiful mountain backdrop, but it's for its cactus as well. And Cindy has a couple of really great shots of a saguaro cactus in the lower center, and especially on the left-hand side of the screen. So they're just fascinating, and they grow to be huge as well too. So we just learned so many interesting things about the plant life and the different cactus species. But I have to say the saguaro are probably my number one favorite type of cactus, and they are everywhere in the Tucson area. Thanks, Cindy. Okay. We're going to have a chance to see a couple of different deserts on the tour. Speaking of cactus, we will spend time in the Mojave, and also on our journey from Tucson to Yuma, Arizona, we're going to drive right through the Sonoran Desert. So again, those of you listening tonight who enjoy plants and find plants interesting, this is something that I have loved and really, really enjoyed sharing commentary and preparing commentary for in my groups, traveling through Arizona, talking about the cactus species and such. But this is a great stop. This is on our way to Yuma, everyone. What you're looking at on the top of your screen, great picture there in the top left-hand corner. We're going to stop at a date farm on our way bound to Yuma, Arizona. And my experience stopping at a date farm before is the date shakes are so yummy. So perhaps you'll have a chance to try a date shake, buy some dates. For me, I must say they're one of my favorite things to snack on. So that date farm is a lot of fun. So we'll tour the date farm there, bound for Yuma, and then we'll have some fantastic attractions to take in Yuma, Arizona, including the Sanguetti House Museum and Gardens, talking about plants. You're seeing that there on the lower half of your screen. And that 19th century adobe home was owned by E.F. Sanguetti, who was known as the Merchant Prince of Yuma. And the gardens are also known as the Jewel of Historic Yuma, with its vintage rose gardens. And as for Yuma, Arizona, well, it is known for its incredible amount of sunshine, and also producing over 90% of the leafy greens eaten in North America. Of course, as we know, it's also a popular place for our snowbirds. Between about 70,000 and 85,000 out-of-state visitors make Yuma their winter home. Okay, thanks, Cindy. Carrying on, we do have some really interesting sites that we'll be visiting in Yuma, including this here, everybody. This is the Yuma Territorial Prison that you're looking at. It opened on July 1st, 1876, and closed as a prison in 1909. I must say, I have found this tour to be very, very interesting there. It was pretty harsh, being a prisoner there at that time. But inside its walls, over its 33 years that it operated as a prison, there was 3,069 prisoners that were held there on a wide variety of charges. 29 of those more than 3,000 prisoners were women who were housed there as well too. So this is going to be one of our sightseeing stops. It opened as a historic state park back in January of 1961. And just one more interesting tidbit for you before Cindy changes the slide for us. Something happened shortly after the prison had closed. That was in 1910 when the local high school burned down. And so for just a few years, the high school actually operated out of the former prison. And that's why for a time, for quite a while, I believe it was, the local sports teams actually became known as the Criminals in Yuma. Yeah. Thanks, Cindy. Okay, we will have a little stop in California. We're not going to spend a lot of time in California on our tour, everybody, but we will be crossing over the border, and we'll be stopping in Felicity, California, at what should be a really interesting sightseeing stop. I have to admit, I was doing some research on this because I haven't been to this place before, but it does look really fascinating. It's called The History of Humanity in Granite. So I'll just tell you a little bit about it. Inside of its space, it encompasses 20 monuments and more than 700 panels, researched and engraved with over 1,000 hand-etched illustrations. And so it is known as the history of humanity. And some of the exhibits that it includes are the Felicity Stone, the Quest for the Sky, the history of the French Foreign Legion, the Hundred Years' War, the Crusades, and the Middle Ages, just to name some of them. So, as I say, I think that's going to be a really interesting sightseeing attraction, and that's in Felicity, California. Thank you, Cindy. Okay, and then making our way, everybody, we will be spending a little bit of time in Las Vegas. We'll overnight in Vegas, have a chance to take that in. Of course, Las Vegas. One of the many, many, many interesting fun facts about Vegas is the fact that it is the brightest place on Earth when viewed from outer space. And maybe one of the reasons for that is there's over 15,000 miles of neon tubing within Las Vegas. So, and it's also the sixth most visited city in the United States. Of course, as we all know, famous for its casinos and hotels and shows, and one of the premier tourism destinations in the United States. So, we will spend a bit of time in Nevada. We'll have a chance to see on our way to Las Vegas. We'll see the desert tortoises at the conservation garden rather before we leave Yuma. But we will spend a bit more time in Arizona as well too. And what you're seeing, everybody, on the lower right-hand corner of your screen, that's back in Arizona, and that's in a town called Lake Havasu. And this is really strange. Some of you listening tonight might know this, but if you don't, this is actually a true story. The London Bridge from London, England, was purchased and moved back in 1968 to Lake Havasu City, Arizona. So it was a man named Robert P. McCulloch that purchased the London Bridge and had it moved. It cost him $2,460,000 to buy the London Bridge. So it's really odd, but needless to say, it's become a tour attraction in Lake Havasu. So hence the London Bridge. Thanks, Cindy. We will have a chance to see some other fantastic sightseeing attractions while we're in Nevada, including Hoover Dam. So let's go over to the right-hand side of the screen, everybody. A couple more shots there of Las Vegas for you. Speaking of, being one of the brightest or the brightest place on Earth as seen from outer space, you can see that there. But in the center of the screen, there's a shot of Hoover Dam, and we're going to be visiting Hoover Dam. So we will make a stop there. Just a few little fun facts for you very quickly about Hoover Dam. Its height, 726.4 feet. Its length, 1,244 feet, and built between 1931 and 1936 at a cost of that time of $49 million, which in today's dollars, it's estimated now would work out to about $763 million. So yeah, I'm pleased to say we'll have a chance to see Hoover Dam and visit there. And then we're not done with the incredible beauty of this tour yet, not at all. Going over to the left-hand side of the screen, what you're looking at is Red Rock Canyon. I have been there and it's incredible. My impression of it was how amazing it was to see such just incredible natural beauty so close to the garish lights and sounds and busyness of Las Vegas. So it's a 13-mile scenic loop that takes us through Red Rock Park in the Mojave Desert, by the way, and known for its various geological features, the towering red sandstone peaks, and the Native American petroglyphs as well, too. So we'll have a chance to visit Red Rock Canyon. Thanks, Cindy. In Arizona, we will have a chance to spend some time driving down Route 66. Speaking of nicknames and mottos, it was known as the Mother Road, also known as the Main Street of America. It was John Steinbeck in The Grapes of Wrath that made that name, the Mother Road, famous. But really historical. First opened on November 11th, 1926. One of the most famous highway routes in the U.S. And I must say, I found this really interesting in the past when I've been there. So we will take a journey on Route 66 and we will visit Williams, Arizona as well. So we'll overnight in Williams. Thanks, Cindy. Good. I should say too, we will have a chance to tour the Powerhouse Route 66 museum. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that before I move on. In Kingman, Arizona's historic Powerhouse is where the museum depicting the history of Route 66 is located. This is a really special part of our trip. We are going to be taking the Grand Canyon Railway, and this is such a fun train journey. I really love it. So again, train enthusiasts, you'll enjoy this a lot, but so will everybody regardless. So it is a really lovely journey from Williams to the south rim of the Grand Canyon. So you're looking at, in the top left-hand corner of the screen, a view from one of the photo overlooks at the south rim of the Grand Canyon. So not only will we have this fantastic train journey to the Grand Canyon, we will then also have a guided tour by motor coach at the south rim of the Grand Canyon. So yeah, and just looking down there in the bottom right-hand corner, that's Bright Angel Lodge, one of the lodges at the Grand Canyon. So that's going to be another really special day of sightseeing. Thanks, Cindy. This is almost going to take us up to the end of our tour, everybody. We've just about seen all the sights tonight here that we're going to enjoy in the tour, but we will be stopping in Salt Lake City, and you will have a chance to see Temple Square. This is really, the heart of kind of the center, for Mormons there at Temple Square, and it's pretty impressive. I must say, I just find people to be so warm and friendly down there when I've walked around by Temple Square as well. So that's pretty interesting. We'll have a chance to see that as we begin journeying back towards Canada. We will have a farewell dinner to enjoy towards the end of our tour. And then also, we're still not quite done sightseeing yet. What you're looking at here, everybody, is the Fort Union Trading Post, which is a National Historic Site in Williston, North Dakota. So one more site that we still get to see. And I love that picture, Cindy, actually on the lower right-hand corner of the screen. It looks like the journey home heading down the highway. And as I mentioned earlier, in my many years guiding for Westworld, I've never lost my love for motor coach tours. There's just something so nice about sitting on the bus and taking it all in and drinking it all in from the windows. And speaking of quotes and mottos, I've said many a time. One of the reasons I love motor coach travel with my groups is it's not just the destinations, but it really is the journey, and it's the people you share the journey with. So that's just so much fun on our tours, is watching everyone just become friends with each other. And I love that old quote, a stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet. And you actually have so much time on a motor coach tour like this to really enjoy everyone's company, play some bus games, have some fun as well, and that all contributes to the enjoyment. But this is a tour we're really excited about, everybody, and that's our Best of the Southwest tour. So thank you so much, Cindy, and turn it back over to you.
Yes, thank you so much, Coral, and persevering through the technical issues that we've experienced this evening. Not sure what happened, but we were able to get back on and continue on. So that's a great thing. And that picture was in the bottom right hand of the screen, the typical Saskatchewan highway. So you picked it right. But yes, we are going to open up to questions now. So if you do have any questions, we do encourage you to type them into the Q&A box right at this moment. Just to reiterate again, the tour is 21 days in length, starting in March 17th, going to April 6th, 2025. The fly-in option will be a little bit shorter, as Coral mentioned. That is March 18th to April 4th, flying into Denver and home from Salt Lake City. See, we do have a question here. That's a great question. How much walking is involved? That would be, I would say, at the sites, especially at some of the stops that we're making, there will be, a fair amount of walking. You're not out hiking or anything, but there will be a fair amount of walking at the various sites, like in Tombstone, like in Old Tucson, and various other sites. Of course, in Vegas, there will be walking. Coral, do you have any comments on that?
Actually, yeah, we certainly do have tours with Westworld, that include more walking or less walking. I would say, looking at our itinerary for this tour, it probably would fall somewhere in the middle. But how I would sometimes answer that question is, a tour like this is very likely going to be, the nature where, you can walk quite a bit if you want to, or not if you want. And the reason I say that, there are tours, more so places internationally, places in Europe, for example, where we have to walk because you just can't take a motor coach on, narrow cobblestone streets. So you really have no choice. A tour of this nature, I would say, is going to be more a situation where, if you like to walk, some of the attractions would be helpful to walk more. But if you really can't, or you want to walk less, I mean, that's probably fine. Like, just as one example, say Tombstone, you could walk all around Tombstone if you're a walker, but you don't really have to do that. So.
And we do have another question here. Lorene is asking if we are going to Arches Park.
Go ahead and take that, Cindy, if you want to.
I think it is in our itinerary at this point. Exactly how much of the park we're going to get to explore is still a work in progress. It does depend entirely on the size of the coach and the different routes that you can get to within the park on a larger motor coach. So there may be some limitations as to places that we can go. However, there will be definitely, stops, viewing stops, and getting to the visitor center and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's a tricky thing for arches. That's basically what we're working out is vehicle size where we can go. So I've been there many times on vacations. I know how beautiful it is, but yeah, that's a tricky thing is working out where you can take a full size motor coach and roads that it's A, safe, and B, allowable to take
Yeah,
a full size bus on.
yeah. So that we're still actually working on that routing within the park. So we haven't hammered it all out yet. As we indicated, there are some issues with the switchbacks in the hills and so on and so forth, as to where we can actually get to in the park with our large motor coach. So any other questions? I don't see any more right at the moment. If you do have any other questions, please let us know. I know Coral's excited to hopefully guide this tour herself and get to, again, New Mexico is a new destination for us this will be the first time that we are actually traveling into New Mexico and down into the far south of New Mexico is into Las Cruces, White Sands National Park. We have traveled some of that route before, but Albuquerque and Santa Fe, those are all new and exciting destinations for us. So we're excited to get there. And if we don't have any further questions at this point, we'll just move on to our next slide here. And we would like to thank you again, everyone, for joining us this evening. And we will follow up with a link to more information on this tour, give you all the details. And you can always reach out for more information by visiting our website at westworldtours.com. Emailing us at inquiries@westworldtours.com. We're happy to answer your questions. You can follow us on Facebook and always reach out to your preferred travel agent. They're always happy to answer your questions and get you booked on any of our tours. Oh, I should mention too, on this particular tour, it is a deposit of $350 per person to secure your spot on this tour. Final payment will not be due until much closer to the departure date, and it is fully refundable as well up until the day before final payment is made. Again, all of those details can be found on our website at westworldtours.com. And let's see, we have another question here. Elaine is saying an excellent presentation. Thank you, and she's very interested. So thank you, Elaine. We're glad you enjoyed the presentation. And at that point, I will say again, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Coral, thank you as always for joining us. I look forward to next week's presentation on Churchill, and hopefully we'll have the guests this evening join us for that one as well.
Everyone, it was so nice to have you join us. Thank you for being here with us tonight. Thank you for bearing with us through a little technical difficulty there. And I really look forward to joining you again next Wednesday if you can be with us. From my home here in Churchill, Manitoba, I'm coming to you from the subarctic in Churchill tonight. So can't wait to talk about my home here in northern Manitoba tomorrow and or next week, excuse me, and our upcoming Churchill tour in the summer as well. Thanks, everyone.
Excellent. Thank you. Good night, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening.